child there.
It's been a while since you guys saw me last, so I had a kid, got pregnant with.
You really fast forwarded the life cycle there.
Yeah. People are tired of being told that they have to wait to have kids. They're 100. So I was like, no one's going to stop me.
That was the fastest adoption I've ever seen go through in my life.
Yeah, I mean, it is really hard to adopt, by the way. Have you ever, do you know anyone who's tried to like adopt a kid from another country or something?
No, but I did just watch that Mark Wahlberg movie where he adopts 3 kids. So I'm pretty experienced in the whole process, I'm pretty sure. And I've seen the Friends episodes where Chandler and Monica adopt a kid. So I feel like I know exactly what to do.
Okay, and you know how to like apply for, some of these countries that you adopt from, they charge you like an arm and a leg, and then they have like all these papers and stuff you have to sign. They make it really hard.
Yeah. How dare they make you sign papers to adopt a child from another country?
I know, I feel like
there's an Alibaba for this or something, right? An Amazon Prime. Baby Prime. So there's something on the screen is what you should explain to people.
Okay. So we were laughing at this article here called How 2020 Changed, and Justin Trudeau, How 2020 Changed Justin Trudeau and didn't. I saw this article on Twitter, actually. It was like a bunch of people from Politico like ass-licking Justin Trudeau, and he grew his beard, and
we're hearing a lot of child here, Pardes.
Sorry, is it really distracting?
Yes.
I'm distracted, but I don't know.
Send that child back to whatever country you got it from.
Boo, do you want to go? Do you want to go play with Mudgy? Yeah? Yeah. No, she's like, no.
Well, you've made your bed, now you must lay in it.
What are you reading?
Pardes Live, exploiting children for monetary gain. So this is why the article is so ridiculous. I'm just going to read the first paragraph here. At the beginning of this interminable year, Justin Trudeau grew a beard. The beard was significant with a capital S, which Ted Cruz actually pointed out. The beard was significant, a symbol of a once youthful prime minister who is now older and wiser and battle-scarred. Many headlines were written. I wonder what they linked to. It was a simpler time, when we had nothing better to do than debate the merits of facial hair as an indicator of gravitas. But beard or no beard, I don't know why they said beard or no. That's bad writing. This year has changed Trudeau's image. Like, what is, like, you're a journalist. I forget her name, Maura or something.
Maura Forrest. What kind of name is that?
And it's basically like, what battle scars from what has this girl must actually not know about Trudeau. Through the whole coronavirus thing, he hasn't done anything. Like, for better or for worse, he's done 0 things. He showed up to a few press conferences for other provinces. But he's generally done nothing. When he told people to stay home for Thanksgiving or for Easter, he immediately left the next day. So there's that. He traveled when he told everybody else not to travel. So he did that, I guess. But other than that, he's just stayed at his own like cottage and done press conferences from outside of his house where he asks softball questions over like the phone. So has he gotten battle scarred? No, he hasn't gotten battle scarred. That doesn't make any sense. That's like saying Joe Biden's gotten battle scarred, but Joe Biden has actually been outside more than Justin Trudeau has, sadly. Justin Trudeau hasn't had any pickup truck rallies with 35 people. So I don't know where you, like, Justin Trudeau's not going to go out with you. He's not going to send you a nice email.
Yeah.
Even when somebody prank called Justin Trudeau pretending to be Greta Thunberg, he couldn't have cared less about what she had to say. He just immediately goes into, it's very important what you do, and all of Canada is thankful for everything. Like the guy doesn't care. He doesn't do much. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he really just cares about looking good and talking like this. Hi, Pardes. Thank you for doing your part for all of Canada. And as Canadians, we trust that you will do what is right for all Canada. I can't even say it anymore. So I don't know. You're the one. How did you find that? Did that just come across your radar?
Yeah, I just thought it was really silly and ass-licky, and it just seems like he's like a celebrity president. Like people talk about celebrity presidents. They say Trump is a celebrity president because people are just so obsessed with him. They don't care what he does. And I guess to some extent that's true, but Trump actually does do some things. Like Trudeau is not he's like the rich kid that is like posting selfies of going to Africa and giving food to kids, like feeding little.
He doesn't even do that.
Yeah. He
doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. He's like the photo op prez.
Oh, for sure. And then blackface, of course, as well. When you can't remember how many times you've done blackface, you probably do it way too much. My guess, and me and my friends have talked about this, that he probably thought that he probably went somewhere in blackface one time. He got a huge reaction, and so that became his bit. So he started doing it at every party. Because if you think about it, he did it at a school party when he was a teacher. He did it as a performance when he was a student. He sang the song Deo, and I don't know if all the Americans know this, but Justin Trudeau sang the song, Daylight Come and We Want to Go Home. He sang that song on stage in blackface. And then he used to work for a camp, and they had a whitewater rafting trip, and where everybody got into costumes, and he decided to do that in blackface, in black body. He painted his legs too. It's pretty impressive the lengths he went to
and he doesn't talk
blackface.
He doesn't talk about it anymore.
No, they asked him about it at one press conference, and they're just like, how many times have you done blackface? And he didn't have a number for them. So he got caught doing it, I think, 3 times. But he couldn't give a number of how many times he's done it, which means that he's done it more times. Or he can't recall if he has or not. Pardes, have you ever snuck a can of beans into the movie theater? That is a very odd question.
Mama!
Is there an inside joke there that I'm not getting?
No, I'm just laughing at her. She's like, Mama.
I don't think I've ever snuck anything into a movie theater. Maybe. My friend has this joke that he used to, him and his friend used to go into movie theaters with cans of pop, purposely cans, so that the quietest part of the movie they could crack the can as soon as soda, excuse me, America. Crack the soda can as loud as possible during the quiet parts. That's pretty funny. Never a can of beans though. Maybe you bring your own can opener and a spoon. Blackface. Who among us hasn't? That's a very good point.
I actually feel, by the way, this is cool that you can still see the article here on the side. I actually think that movie theaters are going to go extinct. We talked about this with Nick Searcy last night, and he's like the filmmaker that he made like a bunch of movies that are kind of edgy, and he doesn't think movie theaters are going to exist soon.
Yeah, it's stupid. They just came out with the trailer for Coming to America 2, and I think that will be a great travesty if that's not in theaters. Have you seen the first one?
No.
Unbelievable.
What's it called?
You need to watch Coming to America. It's from, I think, the early 90s or late 80s. It's Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. 1988. There you go. That's before you were born, isn't it?
Which one? Okay. Is this
the
trailer?
Original? That's the new one, yeah. So it's like, what, 32 years later? I'm in blackface right now, somebody says. That's funny. Post a picture if that's possible. I don't think you're going to find it funny unless you have seen the first one.
The throne must pass to a male heir. Actually,
You might get copyright claimed if you play this whole thing. Geez, Pardes, don't you watch Joe Rogan? Don't you know how it works?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, never mind. Oops.
Amazon Prime's not going to like you.
Oh,
I'm reading through some more of that article, and it's still stupid. If you scroll down to then March happened. Yeah, right there. Trudeau went into self-isolation, and all that was swept off the table. And in the first few frenetic months of COVID-19, the government rolled out emergency support programs and hundreds of billions in spending with remarkable speed. Then in July, it wasn't remarkably fast, by the way. In fact, it was so unremarkable that people complained about how, like, you had to go online and get your your free money, quote unquote free. You had to go online to apply to get your money. And the system kept crashing, and people kept complaining that they couldn't get through to it. So in order to get people through, they basically took off any restrictions. So they made it so no matter if you were eligible or not, they would give you the money. Now they're going back, and it's so funny because now they're going back. They're not saying you have to give the money back. They're saying they're letting people make their case of whether they should have to give the money back, and they're not going to go after people too hard. They're going to go after some people, but I imagine they're going to have some sort of questionnaire or survey or something that says, did you take this when you shouldn't have? And then they're going to give it to people. So it wasn't remarkable speed. It was terrible because people couldn't use the system properly. The Great Reset. The scandal dominated the news through the summer. No, it didn't. But when Trudeau prorogued Parliament for 5 weeks for reasons he insisted were unrelated and flirted briefly with seizing an unprecedented opportunity to transform the country before settling instead for getting through the pandemic with promises of stimulus money to come. I expected it to be less ass-kissing than it actually is, Pardes. I expected it to be better and just using a header to get people's attention and get them upset.
yeah.
Let's go down to the image. Some argue Trudeau grew into his beard this year. In the Toronto Star, Chantal Hébert claims Trudeau has become more cold-blooded, while the Liberal government's days of being associated with unicorns and rainbows is definitively behind it. In Maclean's, which is a famous Canadian magazine, Shannon Proudfoot reminds us that Trudeau will turn 50 next year and will likely head into his next election campaign as a grizzled veteran and not some impetuous wonderkind. Prime Minister photographer Adam Scotty has published a series of photos, including several of Trudeau looking very tired. This is unbelievable. Is this person getting paid? Politico is an American website.
Yeah. It seems like all media outlets are like they're all stooges of like the same common force. Like they're all like, and they are actually told how to cover things. Like Hillary Clinton's campaign gave a whole list of and I just learned this yesterday from my friend Peter Duke. He apparently Hillary Clinton's campaign had a list, like reporters that were at Politico, New York Times, Washington Post, these mainstream outlets were given a list of words they weren't allowed to use when describing Hillary Clinton. And the words were like secretive, insecure, yeah, like all these like negative words about her they weren't allowed to use. And it was, these orders were taken directly from her campaign. So I think it's the same, probably the same with the Canadians. Like they're told they're activists, they're not journalists, so they're just told straight up like how they're supposed to cover who.
Well, if you're unaware that most of the mainstream media in Canada get money from the government, there was, I think it was in 2017 or 2018, they gave, I think it was around $900 million to the mainstream media to keep them afloat. And what they end up doing is they subsidize up to a certain amount of people's salaries. So when you're hiring journalists or what have you at your company, the government will pay for like the majority of their salary. up to a certain point, and it's not a small amount. I'm not going to say how much because I don't remember exactly, but it's not a small amount. I'll try to look that up in the meantime. But yeah, but they get money, so obviously they're not going to bite the hand that feeds all the time. Yeah, this is Maura Forrest. I'm trying to look at her Twitter here. She's got that page. She's got that on her main page, and she's got no likes and 12 comments.
Oh, yeah.
You want to bring that up here? I'll send that to you.
Oh, okay.
You can read some of her Twitter replies. Trudeau didn't have a below average IQ to be all over the mainstream media. So that's what somebody says. Yeah, so it's her top post right now. And we've got, it's pathetic how unprofessional she is at holding politicians like Trudeau accountable. Amazing journalistic coverage of Justin's beard. He's obviously evolved into the wise and maternal leader he already knew he was. We always knew he was, full of integrity. Embarrassed for you. You're a left-wing activist. Thank you for confusing journalism with your high school friend's WhatsApp chat again.
Oh my
God.
God.
And then play that gif of Trudeau dancing down there. There he is. There's like 3 videos of Trudeau dancing in India like this. And when he went to India, so like sad he is. When he went to India, he went to an event dressed in like traditional Indian attire. And all the people there were just dressed in suits and dresses. Like they dressed like in this cultural thing. It'd be like going to a reserve and just dressing in like a feathered headdress. Like he has no clue. He thinks he's being really cool and personable.
He's like the classic latte liberal.
Yes, champagne socialist almost. I don't think he's a socialist. The party, it's weird because we have so many parties here, but he's the leader of the Liberal Party, and it's not quite the Democrats, but it's got the progressives and the Democrats into one party, but they're more like the Democrats than they are progressives because there's a super progressive party called the New Democratic Party in Canada. And they're like, if AOC and the Squad had their own party, they just take all their cues from the UN. Everything they push is like a UN climate agenda. That's basically where they get all their ideas from. Because and then there's the Green Party, which you have in the US as well. It used to be Jill Stein. I don't know who else it is now. But the Green Party literally acts as a global collective. They're basically the same as that party, whereas they have goals that are the same in every single country they operate in, which is really weird because obviously no 2 countries are the same. So Green parties across the world, they all use the same logo because they all have the same goals, and it's all this weird, super far left, literally globalist agenda because they're like a global party.
Yeah, and people say that it's like people call it a conspiracy theory when you say globalist, but it's true. Like there's no theory. It's a fact that like these. I feel like they're trying to create like this single global communist government that like everything is just centralized under this one leadership.
It would be easier to collect taxes that way, I'd imagine. So I found the article, 600 million. It's from 2019. As part of the 2019 budget, $600 million in subsidies to select media outlets. And basically it's all the media outlets that are friendly to them. So up to $55,000 for a tax credit for somebody's salary.
Whoa.
You can claim 25% of it. So $13,750 per employee. So you get a bunch of employees, you're getting $13,000 from each of them back.
Whoa.
The second initiative will allow not-for-profit news organizations to apply for charitable status. I see.
It screws
so then
people.
you don't have. So then you can write off everything.
And then it screws the people who aren't getting these things. It screws over people like normal people who, yeah.
And there's no need. There's plenty of people that can replace them. Like if you go to, I'm sure you know this, if you go to apply for a writing job for most mainstream media places or what have you, you're not going to get it because those people never leave their jobs.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that they're failing.
Yeah. They're not doing a lot.
No. So you're celebrating not Christmas, I'm guessing, because your family's Jewish.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be with my boyfriend's family for yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go tonight to be with my boyfriend's family. Actually, have hang out with them, have dinner with them, stuff like that. Play games.
How many presents? Are you a big present buyer?
I'm really bad at buying presents. So I was thinking about getting sweaters, and then I was thinking about getting t-shirts. There's a t-shirt that my friend sent me a link to. It's on my Twitter feed. It's like a Santa Nassim t-shirt. I'll show it to you.
I don't know what that means. Santa Nassim. If we're talking about how bad the media is, did you see the UFC president's video about how the media shit all over them about coronavirus?
Wait. Say that again.
The UFC president, Dana White, put out a video that literally shows the names and the faces of all the media members that like said that they shouldn't be running events and it's too dangerous for them and they're never going to be able to do it. So if you just scroll through it a bit, they actually show they show clips of all the people saying that they shouldn't do it, which includes like big names in like mixed martial arts community. Are you going to read some of these comments?
Kevin McCarthy says, just awesome. What you've done with the UFC is an example for all. We know lockdowns don't work as planned. One of the greatest frustrations among Americans is a lack of fortitude to find ways to keep kids in school, people at work, and get us back to our lives in a safe way. Whoa.
So if you don't know, they secured an island in Abu Dhabi, which is where they were holding most of their fights, so they could control who came and who went and all the testing. So what they would do is they would fly them to Vegas and put them in isolation for I don't know how long, a couple days, test them there. If they test negative, they fly them over to Abu Dhabi onto this island where they get tested immediately while they're there. And then they get tested every day. And then if you test negative while you're there, you have to sit in isolation again and then get tested again. And I think if you test negative twice and you get sent home. But
positive, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, test positive, you get sent home. But they only had like 2 people test positive through the whole thing. And that's after they had been testing negative. Somehow you arrive on this island and you're testing negative over and over again. And all of a sudden you test positive out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So he starts naming all these journalists. And I think that's pretty funny.
I actually think good. They should.
Look, they even highlight the names. And I remember a few months ago, he was saying when people look at this guy right on the screen, when they were saying when people were saying this, he was saying, "Don't worry, we're keeping track of who's saying what." And then I guess this is why at the end they just wanted to shame them all.
Oh my gosh, I hate these journalists so much.
And like the guy they're showing there, that guy is probably the most famous UFC referee of all time. The guy that was on the right there. And they're all saying, oh, they don't care about their safety and this and that. The funny thing is, though, the MMA publication that's the most like mainstream journalism is called The Bloody Elbow. And I think they're owned by Vox Media. And they always try to bring politics into mixed martial arts. And nobody ever bites on it. But they're always getting mad at somebody. A fighter said this while he was Twitch streaming. Like this is the type of those are the type of articles they write, and it's really like a stain on that community, because nobody wants to care about politics. They just want to watch people beat their brains out.
Yeah.
Man Patria says, I remember getting tested. They put some stick in my mouth. My gag reflex kicked in so hard. No jokes to be made there at all. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Bill Fenner says, hey, Pardes, really enjoyed that stream with Nick Cersei last night. That was great. So I had Nick Cersei on. Basically, I went, so as you know, okay, I don't know. But yesterday, I went to interview Nick Cersei. He's a Hollywood filmmaker. I went to this restaurant in Los Angeles and in Burbank, actually. I forgot to include the link to the restaurant. If you guys want to support them, I'll include it later. But we went to this restaurant that was shutting down. And like a lot of different businesses, this restaurant is like, they're not supposed to stay open. They're staying open as an act of protest against the government. And they are getting so many fines and citations and like issues from the government that they actually don't care. Like this is their last grasp for breath before they shut down. And it was really jarring to be there. And that's not the only place. So many places have been getting, like my one of my boyfriend's sister, the place where she works also at a restaurant. The place where she works, someone tipped the government, probably like an angry former employee or something, like tipped the government that they were still open. And it was like almost Christmas or whatever, and they shouldn't be open. And so they got shut down by the authorities too, and they're shutting down. But it's really scary to see this. And journalists are in on it. Journalists are like the SS officers that are in on it. And in California, they're playing it hardcore. I think it's like really scary to me what they're doing. It's like an excuse for like a ton of government control.
You guys are a little bit behind. That's been happening to us for months. The company I work for, Rebel News, they've been like trying to fight these fines people. I'm going to send you a video. I don't know if you've heard of Adamson Barbecue yet, but they sent in police on horseback. They sent in about 50 cops. They lined the streets with cop cars. They ticketed anyone who was going to be there. It was crazy. I was there. I'm trying to find the exact point in the video where the horses come through. But the police literally, I can probably play it from here. The police literally come and arrest this guy for having his restaurant open. And you can play as much of it as you want. But it should queue up right there. The police come in the police come and arrest this guy for having his barbecue place open. And then they block the entrances, and people are there protesting all day. And they have literally 50 cops and cops on horses blocking off both entrances. It was absolutely nuts. It was like somebody got stabbed in another place in the city while this was happening, I'm pretty sure. It was insane. So this guy who's opening, and by the way, his barbecue is really, really good. And so this is what's been happening. I don't know if you can skim through and look for it should be coming right after he's arrested. The horseback police come and block off the entrances. It was really weird. There was a lot of Eastern European people there, like former Yugoslavians, and they were like a lot of them, probably like 20 plus, and they were really mad because it reminds them of Yugoslavia and how communist it was. The government just coming in, like shutting down businesses for not complying.
Oh my God.
So this guy was arrested, and I think it was like $250,000 bail they had for this guy. And in the end, they tried to fine him for not having a proper business license, not being properly filled out. Like that was the fine. So it's pretty crazy. I want to see if the horseback is there.
It's really scary. Like I feel like people from other countries other than America are just so like they just accept these things so easily, and Americans are like adopting that worldview. They're just like, oh well, this is how it is. This is like you're supposed to just comply with these. But this is the whole reason why we live here. The whole reason why we live in America and not some other country is like because like America was built on freedom and individualism and like not and free enterprise and all these things. Like someone Graham Mickelson says other countries. Sorry, but I just find it. I feel like part of the reason why people are just so accepting now of like all these crazy like arresting people for having their business open because there's a flu, like these crazy unreasonable laws that are like screwing people over so hard. I think it's like the influence from other countries, honestly.
The thing about Canada is that nobody cares about anything. Like they do in the sense that they don't like this stuff. But this is like actually the first time that people have gone out and fought out against something in my entire lifetime.
Really?
In my country, I've never seen a big protest for anything. The only big thing that would happen would be like the Pride Parade. But this summer there was a huge BLM march, and then like every Saturday there was a freedom protest, like an anti-lockdown protest. Wow. And now there's like a contingency of probably 2,500 people that protest regularly about this stuff. Some of them are ridiculous. There's been groups that pop up. There's one called The Line, which turned out to be run by like some creepy weirdo who allegedly justified pedophilia. That's what people say. I know that's a hard charge, but he's on video saying that he feels like driving his car into the mainstream media buildings. He says all this ridiculous and stupid stuff that's obviously going to damage his movement. So there's these groups that have popped up that are full of insane people sometimes, and unfortunately led by insane people. But then the rest are people who have made it their life almost to go out and protest every weekend because they can't work. Because a lot of them are like estheticians, barbers. There's some strippers in there too. Wow. People who have restaurants, obviously, that can't open because the restaurants in Toronto have not been allowed to have people in there for a really long time. And I'm sending you the one of what I did because you'll be able to see the horses. The horsies.
Oh, my niece loves horsies.
We all should be back.
See, there's the horses blocking the entrance there. You can see them. There's me with a guy with an InfoWars shirt and cannolis in his hand. So they pull up. Yes.
Oh my God.
So they pull up this truck with this. This is my sweet intro, by the way. So they pull up with this truck, and see, there's the horses in the background. So they have these horses lined,
blocking both sides,
blocking the entrance.
Building. They've shut it down. They tried to lock it this morning. It got opened up, but they're back here to stop everything. They're handing out fines down the street for all the people that have parked down the street. They're handing out tickets. Things are very loud. We're going to see what people have to say. Let's go.
You know what? I left Cuba, communist regime, for freedom, and this is not it. So that's why I'm here. I'm fighting for everyone to have freedom.
What do you guys think about the police reaction to this event?
I think, yeah, they shouldn't be here. I feel like they feel the same way as us, some of them at least, but they're just doing what they're told. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be here.
I am here to protest my rights and freedom.
Want to tell us what you're doing here today?
Supporting our people, supporting Canada, just supporting our rights, our freedom, what the actual law is about. Not abusing people, not suppressing people. This is a real issue. We need to wake the up and realize what the actual coronavirus is. Do your education. Your research. Their livelihood too. I don't know why they're standing against us when it's their livelihood. Like, I really don't understand this. It makes zero sense to me. I'm angry. I want this to stop.
Nice coats, though, you know?
Back to normal, which I don't think it's gonna. But you know what? That's why we're here. We want life to go back to normal. We want things to change. But I don't know what's gonna happen. If they don't stand the up and help us, then I don't know what's gonna happen.
I came down from up north, basically. I was at the rally at Queen's Park. I'm here for freedom.
Yeah, see, these people on the truck and everything, they go to like to rallies like every weekend. They've basically made it like their job. But all the cops there, some of the times when people were standing in the cops' faces and yelling at them, I felt like it was kind of counterproductive, and it reminded me a little too much of like BLM and Antifa. But on the other hand, they're actually fighting for something that I think is right. And like, you got young kids here, you got old, a lot of, and like I said, that guy's Russian, a lot of foreign people from Europe who used to live under communism, and they don't like seeing this stuff.
We're stronger about the Constitution, right? So that's why we are here. We have kids, we have, and we think that it's no fair what the government are doing. So people needs to wake up, you know?
I don't think people want to admit that this fight has come to their front door. We're fighting something that, if you get, by chance, you get 99% mild symptoms. This thing's got a survival rate of 99.2%.
So I have a question.
Yes.
If this is the first time people are being this like proactive and vocal about freedom and whatever, do you think that, I mean, so that's a great sign. Do you think Canada is gonna like move towards maybe joining the US in some kind of like freedom movement, or maybe like are they gonna break away from the UK, or I don't know, like what do you think can happen next?
Well, the funny thing is that most of the premiers in Canada, which are governors, are already supposed to be conservative parties. Like, I think it's 7 out of 12 are conservatives. It might be even 9.
Wow.
But the biggest provinces, Ontario, Alberta, they're already governed by conservative leadership, and they've been so silent in this. So there's not much more. There's not many more places people can vote for. So what I think is going to happen with a lot of these governments is they won by large majorities in the last election. I think they're going to see a lot of their fans, I'll call them, their fan base, go to alternative parties, whether it's bad for better or for worse. And then maybe they'll have to spartan up. But they've been so silent during all of this. Are they going to join America in the freedom movement? Now, I think there's that map that people floated around, which was like Jesus land. Have you seen that before?
Oh, yeah. Amy Siskin.
I don't know who that is. Is she the one that came up with it?
Amy Siskin Jesus land map. Yeah.
But there's so many problems with that map. I can tell you once it comes up. I've never heard of this lady.
She's the one that made the map here. I mean, she's the one who shared it, I guess. This one.
Okay, so there's so many problems with this map. Wow, goodness, these crappy internet ads.
This is so.
Can you ace this viral test? So, if you put your mouse over, go to the west coast of Canada.
Okay. So
the two next to it, go over one right. So that one and the two next to that, those are both all three of those are conservative provinces. Those are like basically the same thing you're going to get in like the Dakotas and Montanas and stuff like that. It's oil, it's bread, it's farming. Those aren't going to be liberal. They're not going to join any liberal things. Those are more conservative than where I live. And then you go one more over to my province of Ontario. That had a super majority of conservative government, which we have right now. So that doesn't make any sense either. Then you go one over to the right, which is Quebec. Quebec is the same as Scotland in regards to the UK. They completely go their own way. Quebec didn't vote for liberals. They didn't vote for conservatives. They voted in the last election for the Quebec Party. It's called the Bloc Québécois. The Bloc Party, whatever it means. So they're not going with anybody anyways. So all that they're going to have is British Columbia, which is on the far west coast, and the East Coast, which voted for Trudeau. So whoever made this map doesn't know anything about Canada, and they think that Canada is just all super liberal. I mean, it is more liberal than the United States, but it's not like it just would never happen that way. It doesn't make any sense. So
Also,
I don't know what these people. Go ahead.
Sorry, from what I understand, Quebec is the one basically like calling shots for everybody, but they're like a very the people it's like a very tiny minority, because the people who are like elected to office in Quebec, it sounds like they're only Quebecers. Like it can't even be anyone who was born somewhere else in Canada.
No, you can't they're not calling the shots for everybody else. What the problem is that they vote in such unison that they're able to stop certain things from happening just by their sheer numbers, because they have a lot of seats. So when they all vote unanimously, like they did in this one, if only some voted for the Quebec party, then Trudeau probably would have lost, but they all voted for themselves. So Trudeau was still able to win, and the East Coast voted for Trudeau because it's all boomers who think it's the same as it was in the 70s, which it isn't. But yeah, if you live in Quebec, is very in unison, and they've been pretty harsh with their lockdowns. They've been had to tell the courts have had to tell them to stop, just like in New York, for breaking down like Jewish religious ceremonies. Our social media guy from Rebel is from Montreal, and he's got some pretty funny videos of him talking to the police who just happened to be driving by the synagogue. So Quebec's weird, man. Half of my family's from there. French people are snobby. I'm French, I can say that. And they don't want anyone to tell them what to do, just like historically.
They are, and they even if they speak perfect English, they refuse to speak English sometimes.
Correct.
If it's like
my grandparents did the same thing to me.
Yeah. They have no problem telling you that. I mean, especially like hopefully my French Quebec friends don't see this, but like when I studied abroad, I was studying in Israel, and it was like there were so many French Quebecers there, and they all were just so like they only spoke French, even though they spoke English. Some of them probably spoke English better. I don't know, but they refused to speak English ever, and like they would invite you to come and hang out with them in their group and everything, but they would only speak French. And if you complained about it, they'd be like, well, like, we don't want anyone to hear what we're saying.
Of course. At least they're willing to admit that.
Yeah.
Some of the questions here: does Canada censor social media like they do in the US? Yes, obviously, but it's not as bad. I half-assedly call myself the most censored YouTuber in Canada, because I don't know of any other political YouTubers in Canada. There's some, but they're not as cool and popular as me, Pardes. But once I got demonetized, my channel completely got halted. Zero. It's over the last 2 years, it's gone down in subscribers. The reach is like nothing now. It's crazy. If you steal something in Canada, how much? I think that says how much do they charge you? Now, the funny thing about that is I saw that earlier, and there's so many places like in California, for example, where they won't even stop you from stealing. The liquor store in my province, which is controlled by the government, don't ask me why, they won't stop people from stealing. So bums go in there all the time and literally just take out expensive bottles of liquor and walk out with it. And they ended up losing like a couple $1 million from that over a year of just from people stealing it because they won't pursue it. It's really weird. So if you steal something in Canada, the Canadian, if you've ever seen Trailer Park Boys, the Canadian jail system is not far off from that. There's probably like each province probably has one tough jail, one tough prison, and the rest are probably like pretty lax. It doesn't sound like it's a terrible federal penitentiary like Shawshank or anything. The map was made by a Dem who thinks we're all commies. The Maritimes unanimously voted Trudeau because it's a welfare state. Jesus was more for acceptance and inclusivity than the left are today. What's up, Pardes? Says the prodigal heel. What is up, Pardes?
What's
You
up?
can put them on screen. Nice.
Yeah. What's up, prodigal heel? Not much. Just
Oh
chilling.
yes, roaming millennial. I forgot about that, but
Think.
but she's not really. She worked for Blaze TV. She's making that coin now.
Oh, oops. Prodigal.
Significant. I wouldn't. I don't know about significantly anymore. I'm on a pretty big channel there, Josh and Jeez.
So you and roaming millennial Lauren Chen, do you know each other?
Not at all. I'm sure people, my bosses, know who they are. I'm sure, or
Do
like
you-
have spoken to them. But
Do you know a lot of people who are in like this media thing?
know and spoken to are different. I'd say like I've spoken to a lot of people. Do I know them? Probably not. I've interviewed Fleckus. I've interviewed Elijah Schaefer from Slightly Offensive. I've spoken to Fleckus back in the day when he wasn't as big. I've interviewed Will Witt. I'm talking to you. I've talked to Raheem Kassam a few times. Martina Markota. I don't know. It's weird. I don't have that many.
Still around? Is Martina Markota still around?
Define still around. I don't know.
Like, is she still?
I think she just makes her own YouTube content because people banned her for claiming she's alt-right.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just trying to see any of the other people that I can brag about knowing. Jordan Peterson's daughter I just interviewed. If you guys want to go to rebelnews.com/Andrew Says or Rebel News on YouTube, I interviewed Michaela Peterson. She's really cool.
Yeah, she seems really interesting. So
people tried to come after me for that. They act like she's trying to sell something because she does this all meat diet. They're just like, oh, she's dangerous. You guys look out. It's pretty funny.
Well, that's her. I mean, but also, what's wrong with her trying to sell stuff?
Nothing, but she doesn't.
Yeah, and also like what else are people supposed to do? Like if they believe in a product or they believe in a thing, then why shouldn't they talk about it? Like for her, it's her diet. She talks about dieting and stuff like that.
Get your brain force at InfoWarsStore.com. It works for me. It works for you.
I mean, my concern is how do YouTubers make money? Like how do most of these YouTubers you talk to, how does Martina Markota make money?
I don't know how she makes money, to be honest. I know probably could tell you about other ones. Like Lightly Offensive works for Blaze TV. Roaming Millennial, Lauren Chen works for Blaze TV. Fleckus has a Patreon. Will Witt works for PragerU. Because YouTube, I'm sure all these guys would continue to have been doing YouTube. Would have been continuing to do YouTube. I haven't eaten that much, so I'm dying a little bit. But you can't make money off of it. Just like I was making money off of it, and then all of a sudden you can't. It really sucks. So you got to do writing, or you got to work for another network, and then that's how you make money. Or have a sweet Patreon. Like Jordan Peterson's Patreon, even though he was a university teacher, so he was probably making at least $100,000 a year. I'm pretty sure his Patreon was up to like that much per month at one point.
Yeah.
And then speaking, and Dave Rubin's got his own show. He's on the Blaze too. The Blaze bought everybody, it seems. Bought Steven Crowder. They had CRTV, and they bought all that. Was there some question you had, or was that was the question?
No, they're like the almost like the Fox News competitor because they're taking a lot of Fox News people too.
Do you know Barely Informed with Elad? I've spoken to him a few times. I'm gonna try to interview him eventually. He's got a good YouTube channel.
Oh, Barely Informed with Elad. I'm gonna check it out.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Tom Bon Jovi. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Are there any hoods in Canada that are as bad as American hoods? Like, is there any place in Canada that's as bad as the north side of Milwaukee? See, I wouldn't even think of the north side of Milwaukee as one of the worst places, but I guess it's bad. Hoods as bad as there's one area in Toronto where you could get shot. A lot like rappers actually get shot in this part of Toronto. The rapper, what's his name? He shot that girl named Megan the Stallion, and I don't even follow, like, I like rap, but I don't follow their rap politics. It's not Trey Songz. He's really small. What's
I'm
his name?
busy.
I like how Drake comes up if I put in Canadian rapper Toronto. I mean, that makes sense. I'll find his name really quickly for you. But anyways, are there hoods that are as bad in Canada as Toronto? The answer is no. Or as bad as the US. In Toronto, it's a pretty bad hood. It's probably the worst you're going to get. In places in and around Vancouver, you're probably going to get like Vietnamese gangs that might kill you. And then on the East Coast, if you go to reserve, like a native reserve, they might beat you to near death. But there's very few places that you should really feel scared of when you're walking around. One part in Toronto being the most specific place. Jane and Finch, there it is. Pardes is gorgeous. So is that the one you were talking about?
Oh yeah. I was just fine. Thanks.
LOL, bunch of disgusting right-wing grifters. You're gonna have to define grifters. Is making money just being grifter? So I guess that's supposed to mean that they don't really believe in what they're doing. They're just doing it for money. Like, yeah, Flecka started interviewing people on the street because he knew he was going to get so much money. Fleckus is like an unsigned rapper who made it big. I don't know who you're calling the grifters. You have to be more specific and give examples.
You know who's my favorite person? Like, really my favorite person, and he inspires me so much. Have you ever watched Anomaly?
I have watched Anomaly.
He's like the ultimate, like, made it on his own person. Like, this guy is not affiliated with anybody. This guy is like he's been doing this for so long, and for me that's like really inspiring.
He's got nice hair.
Huh?
He's got nice hair.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, long. Sorry, that was a joke. That was not funny.
No, I don't know. I don't get it. Is why it's not funny.
So, oh my gosh, I can't do live. See, this is why I can't be at my parents' house. I can't do live stream without a million people calling my name.
Pardes. I don't know. They're probably saying. Do you have like a Hebrew version of your name that we don't know about?
I'm saying Pardes. Pardes is Hebrew, but it's. I mean, they used to call me Pardes, which is actually Farsi. But when I went to school, everyone was calling me Pardes, so everyone just calls me Pardes.
Somebody just sent me a link to an article that says Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada, stay with me, launches $850,000 ad campaign advising people to stay home during COVID-19. That's a good use of our money right there.
Oh my gosh, that's so dumb.
How do you pronounce lieutenant and aluminum? I just did. Only in the military would you call it lieutenant. Otherwise, people are just going to say lieutenant the way it sounds. That's
you
British in Canada.
Lieutenant in the military? That's funny.
In British military, which is obviously where we come from, it's a lieutenant for some reason, but it's still spelled the same. And aluminum, I'm guessing they're referring to British people saying aluminium, which is not Canada. We do not say it like that. Grift this. Is the pro-freedom movement gaining steam in Canada the same way it is in America? Yes, but they still don't get attention from the mainstream media. If they protest, they'll say like over 100. And I get that you can't claim a certain amount of people are there that might not be there, but they still try to downplay it, or they just point the camera at something else. Pardes is it? Oh, that's.
Oh, this is interesting from Prodigal Heel. Thanks, Rex. Prodigal Heel says Pardes reminds me when I started. It's like Iron Man, Logan, and she is a clone girl. Thanks.
Logan's a great movie.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I should watch some of your videos, Prodigal Heel.
I rewatched Logan recently. It's great. I don't like that they die at the end. Spoiler alert. Tomato, it's still tomato. Nobody actually says tomato, except for, I don't know, Professor Xavier in X-Men. Believe it or not. British people.
So I have a question. Once you get demonetized from YouTube. What's the best way of monetizing your videos?
I have no idea. Hopefully you have a big enough audience that you can get sponsors, and a dedicated enough audience that you have a Patreon or people send you money in some way. You could have a premium on YouTube.
I noticed a lot of people using Subscribestar.
Yeah, that's because they disagree with the Patreon kicking off people like Sargon of Akkad and stuff for no reason. So they jumped off of that.
But it's not like better than Patreon necessarily.
I don't think it's better. I think it's basically the same. It's just that they are less censorious.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know, Pardes. You're gonna have to start like a Footpick channel or something.
I actually I want to make more videos about ways for people to make money outside of their 9-to-5 jobs. I feel like it's easier when you can do things off the books and whatever. I grew up babysitting and giving people tutoring family, friends, kids, and giving people piano lessons and stuff like that. And I feel like that there's a lot of that within the Jewish community. But when I go out, when I moved out, I saw there isn't really a lot of that. People are very, very much tied to their 9-to-5s. And there isn't a lot of the feeling that you can independently make your own money and grow your own business. You always have to be you always have to be attached to a bit. Does that make sense? I think about stuff a lot. I'm always thinking, yeah, little side.
I just wish I started doing stuff when I was younger. If theoretically, if you start an Instagram page at 17 and all you're doing is playing hockey, for example, or playing football, and you just take pictures and videos of yourself doing that, I would imagine that within 5 years, you're going to have at least a few thousand followers just by producing content over and over again. Even if it's here's how to throw a football properly. Here's a highlight of me. If you start when you're young, by the time you hit your late 20s, you're probably going to have a large enough audience that this is just in media. You're probably going to have a large enough audience that's going to be monetizable. Whether it's writing, you can start writing voluntarily for places. You can start just being a crazy Twitter person. If you have enough time to put into it, I feel like as long as you're consistent, it's much harder to fail. If you're going to be getting better and better at it, it's just you got to start doing it. And I'm glad that somebody forced me to start doing podcasting and doing YouTube videos 4 or 5 years ago.
Who?
My ex-girlfriend.
Wait, so how did she do it? So how did it happen?
Me and my friend were always talking about UFC, and she's like, "Why don't you guys just start a podcast?" And so we did, and we started as audio only, and then we made a set and we did videos. And then after a year, we started actually getting real guests from the UFC. Now we don't do that anymore, but that inspired me to start doing YouTube stuff, which got me to where I am today. And like I told you last time, once I got demonetized, I was just trying to start writing more and hoping to build myself up that way in this sphere, if you can call it that. And then Rebel News decided to hire me, and I'm very thankful for that.
Nice.
It's I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. It's like Saturday Night Live, but for politics, Rebel News. You've got all these people come on. You've got the main cast, and you've got the features and people who come on, and they've got slightly different views and different styles. And I mean, if you look at the people that who used to be on there, we mentioned Martina Markota used to be on there. Jack Posobiec used to be on there. Gavin McInnes, Lauren Southern. All these people used to be on there, and they, for better or for worse, they've gone on to different things. And it's like a TV show that way. I mean, they don't tell me what to say or what opinions to have. They don't tell me what type of videos to make.
Yeah.
So it's like you can really like make your own way. Like I was going by my YouTube name and they convinced me to use my real name. And it makes sense because like if I'm just like no one's gonna know exactly who you are, and it's harder to build a brand on just like a pseudonym.
Yeah.
Like if you're just going by like Pardes Live all the time, I feel like it's not the same thing. Like at the end of the day, I'm not like Cher. I'm not I'm not Post Malone. I think the only place you can do that is in music with this with like a not your real name, you know?
Or PewDiePie.
PewDiePie, he was just like the first guy to think that people wanted to watch you play video games. I thought it was stupid when it first came out. And now I watch people play video games. It's sickening. I mostly watch people play like old video games.
So Josh and Jesus says you should both start a Locals channel. Locals is Dave Rubin's free speech platform, and some people are making money on there.
I did interview Dave Rubin. That's another person, by the way. He doesn't follow me back on Twitter. Unbelievable, Dave Rubin. But he did talk about that, which is interesting. Yeah, it seems to be like an all-in-one like Patreon with YouTube combined because it hosts your videos as well. Will Tim Pool be skateboarding in 40 years? Probably. Tony Hawk's still skateboarding. I wish Tim Pool wouldn't wear a toque or a beanie. Sorry, I almost said the Canadian word, a toque. That's Toque. A beanie is a different thing here.
That's
a toque is like, it would be has like the puffy ball, probably. A beanie here would be something that's really form-fitted to your head. You probably don't need to fold it up. That's what a beanie would be here. A toque. Canadian words. Toque. I meant to ask you, Pardes, says Josh Jesus, who is the best independent political YouTuber? Do they exist anymore? Are they allowed to exist anymore? That's a question for you, Pardes, by the way.
I think Anomaly. I think Anomaly is the best.
He's got a lot of views.
I think Anomaly is the most like independent from every way possible. He's like the most nuanced. He's the most like out there and edgy and crazy, and the most like. And he's not being crazy for the sake of being crazy. Like he actually genuinely believes everything he's saying, and he's like so not trying to be part of anything. And he's not trying to not be part of anything. He's just so independent minded.
He just is. I guess him and
really cool that he got. I mean, he's been doing this for like 12 years. He has another site. He has another channel. I kind of like stalked his old YouTube channel, and he has another one. He came on this platform, by the way. That live stream got so many views because all his followers came and watched it. And like I went back and watched one of his old. He had another channel, and that was like he started that one like 12 or 13 years ago. And though they were just such raw videos, he never took them down. They're just, and it's like he's not trying. Yeah, it's just so like he just kept doing the same thing forever, and it just worked.
Somebody says Sticks again. Yeah, Stick Hexenhammer. He goes by a fake name. I don't know what his name is. I like that guy a lot. I liked watching him. Same with Tim Pool. I liked watching these guys who were clearly wanted liberals and Democrats to be what they were supposed to be, like what they were 20 years ago, or what they were supposed to be. And then they couldn't, they tried so hard for it to be that way. And then eventually they just realized that it's not that way anymore. Because I saw Sticks go from, I'm a classical liberal, this and that, and then to now where he's literally shit talking Bernie Sanders on every post that he makes. And Tim Pool is the same way. He used to be right down the middle or on the left side, and now I think Twitter is what really made him realize that things are pretty slanted.
Yeah. Okay.
Brittany
And then
Pettibone.
I'll ask her to come on this live stream at some point.
She's Austrian now. She doesn't count as Canadian anymore. Was she Canadian before, or is that just Lauren Chen?
Lauren, I think. Just Lauren. Brittany's from like somewhere in America. I forgot where.
Okay. So I know her and Lauren Southern moved or went to Australia. And, well, I don't know this, but this is what it appears to be. They both went and got married this guy from that Identity Europa group, and I don't know. I can I can dunk on them if you want.
Yeah, no, I don't. Martin Sellner.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want to be part of any identity groups.
Yes, because yeah, I don't like being part of a group in general. I feel very like constricted. Like I feel like I've been in groups just by default because of what I was trying to accomplish, but nobody really like listened to what I had to say. Like they would just like, I would be seen with like, I don't know, I'm not even gonna say names. Like I'd be seen with someone because I'm friends with them, and like someone would write up or say or tweet or whatever that like, oh yeah, Pardes is like part of this group.
Pardes is part of this?
In a believer.
What group was this?
I don't know. Like it just happened so many times. Like, I mean, even just places where I was at, like Pardes is just this. And it's like, dude, you never even asked me about my opinions of this movement or this idea or opinion. And you're just assuming that that's what I am just because I'm hanging out with people that apparently believe those things. So I just felt like I couldn't have my own identity. So in a lot of these places, because everyone's just so obsessed with like being part of a group.
All right, I have 2 questions for you, then I'll let you go. I don't know how long we've been going for. An hour, it looks like. My first question is, how many people message you and try to like get you to do stuff with them? How many people are just like, Pardes, I got this great opportunity for you. Come join this network. Because that used to happen to me so much when I was doing more YouTube, and I wasn't very big at all, and I had like 10 different platforms trying to get me to sign up with them and do videos for them. Does it happen to you a lot?
It happens more with like independent people like you.
Am I independent?
Yeah.
I'm not independent.
Well,
I work for a large media company now. Well, large, but
yeah, but like you're reaching out to me on your independent platform. And
yeah.
like, so, and the thing that we're doing, like this is going to your own platform and mine. It's not going to like the place where you work. So I think that, yeah, I've been getting a lot of, I might actually start having a radio show.
Oh, cool. Like terrestrial radio?
Yeah. Like in Missouri.
Interesting. But you'll be satelliting it from Texas, I imagine.
Yeah. And
that's
so
interesting.
Really cool. And so I have been getting like stuff like, you know, stuff like that more. In the past, I think I was getting more like established conservative media outlets, but because I think I don't know. I think more recently, and I don't know if it has to do with my YouTube channel. I think it's just that my opinions and the stuff I talk about are like all over the place. So if you're a conservative, like a reliably conservative like network, you're gonna want someone that's kind of like more consistent. And I haven't really been consistent. I've kind of been all over the place.
Gotta get that brain force. I don't get paid by InfoWars, you guys. But by the way, if anyone wants to give me a radio show, I'll do it. I went to radio school. My last.
I said nice.
Well, and when we talk over each other, we can't hear each other. So I think it just cuts out. Borat 2, by the way, so bad. Oh my God. it is, and I don't like calling things propaganda, but that was propaganda. There is no question about it that was just meant to influence the election. Here's Rudy Giuliani. Here's all these Republicans. We can't find anyone who's actually racist, so we'll like zoom in on one guy. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a part where he goes on stage in like a festival and tries to sing this racist song, and Zeke hiles, and nobody does it back, and then they act like everybody enjoyed it. But when that was happening in real life,
they put close-ups. I saw that. They put close-ups on people's faces who were like smiling awkwardly, because I mean, when someone is there and he's singing Zeke Kyle to your face, and like you're not gonna be like, I don't know. People just get nervous. They don't know what to say, and they put like music, and they made it seem like these people were like endorsing it, and I'm sure people were kind of going along with it because he was cuckoo, but
they ended up kicking him off the stage. Like they ended up booing him out. They didn't show that in the movie, but there's clips from when it happened. And that's why, like, as soon as he's done, like they cut to him, and there's like no more footage from that place because he had to leave.
I hate Sacha Baron Cohen so much. He's just a dishonest person, and all his movies are like they're trying. It's all about trying to like catch the racists, but like it's really just creating evil monsters out of normal people that are maybe a little bit like less polished, like normal Americans that like they go out to like these places where people are dirt poor, and they're trying to like make evil monsters out of like this random truck driver that like and then this guy is like just like elite, snobby, wealthy, just disgusting, condescending person, and he's like trying to make monsters out of like these random people that are nobodies. Like I hate it so much.
He's really trying to perpetuate the like everyone from the South is super racist and bigoted thing. And then he goes on stage at some awards ceremony and calls for more censorship, specifically naming Alex Jones. Like Alex Jones nobody would pay attention to him in the mainstream if they didn't care about him so much. But they need to make this villain out of him. And then when Borat 2 comes out, he gets mad that social media was censoring his stuff. It's hilarious. Sacha Baron Cohen, what are you doing? Maybe you need to go back to like Bruno. At least I was picking on celebrities. But my last question, Pardes, was, do you still have a LinkedIn account?
I do. I don't know if I'm ever going to use it, but...
Because I have one, and I see the emails from it, and it's like, you're getting a lot of traffic right now.
Yeah, I don't want to ever be a full-time worker again. Sasha Cohen says, I hate you too, Pardes. Someone named Sasha Cohen in the comments.
It was a super chat though, so at least they...
That's really nice. That's really awesome. Thank you.
Pardes is going to take that $1.40 and run with it now.
Yeah, I mean, is it... how much do I get to keep? Because honestly...
70%.
Oh, okay, 70%.
I did some quick math, and honey, you went to private school. You should be able to beat me on that.
So, I mean, I also feel I feel like it might be a little bit less than 70% because I get super chats all the time, and it's I always end up getting like way less than what the super chats are. And so I think that they're taking and that's another thing that I'm going to work on is trying to like encourage people to either use Streamlabs or like like one of these engines that that don't take so much money.
I see. Like I told you, I was trying to figure that out, and I tried Streamlabs, and I don't think we can do this on Streamlabs. Maybe you can if you pay for a premium, but I don't think. I could be wrong. Does anybody in the chat know before we go? Can you do more than one person, like a split screen like this on Streamlabs? Because it seems like it's just meant for somebody sharing their screen while they play video games. You flexing right now? Are you scratching your back?
No, I'm scratching.
Reminds me of Homer Simpson when he's scratching his back and he's actually got something stuck to his back. No. So nobody knows, I guess. But then again, I only see the YouTube ones for whatever reason. I don't know, Pardes.
Okay. Well, my I don't know if you guys hear this, but my baby niece keeps calling my name and she's like, Pardes, Pardes. And so I want to go and say hello to her. But
great segue. Pardes.
Thank you guys for joining.
I have a cat that's calling me.
He's like,
it was good. It's not even my cat. Good talking to you again. Have a very, very merry Christmas and a happy New Year.
Hell yeah! And I'm gonna include Andrew's. I'm gonna include Andrew's links in the description, and we're gonna have more like this. We're gonna have Don't Cancel Me. We'll have it as a separate like playlist, so that you can. It'll be like a separate playlist so you can turn on the notifications for it and everything whenever we go live, and it will be separate from Pardes Live. And so go and follow Andrew.
Yeah, it's gonna be on my YouTube channel as well.
Yep. And like this video on YouTube if you're there. And see you guys later. Have an awesome Christmas time.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Break the COVID rules where you live. That's my advice.
Yep. Take care.